Chapter 1. A Perfect Day for a Wedding. Robbie Hart is in his element. Standing on the stage at a wedding reception, he's the life of the party, singing his heart out. As a wedding singer in Ridgefield, New Jersey, Robbie has become a local legend, known for his ability to keep crowds entertained and make weddings unforgettable. With his band behind him and the dance floor full of happy couples, this wedding seems like another success. Robbie is passionate about love and weddings. After all, he's about to get married himself to his longtime girlfriend, Linda. His love for Linda drives him, and the thought of his own wedding day fills him with excitement and joy. As he serenades the newlyweds, Robbie's belief in true love is as strong as ever. Among the crowd, we meet Julia Sullivan, a waitress working the event. She's charming, sweet, and full of life. Like Robbie, she enjoys working weddings, but she's also hopeful about her own love story. Julia is engaged to Glenn Gulia, a wealthy businessman who works in the city. They're set to be married soon, and Julia is eagerly planning her dream wedding. As the wedding winds down, Robbie and Julia share a friendly moment. They've crossed paths at multiple events, but haven't really gotten to know each other. Robbie's genuine kindness and Julia's sweet nature make their interaction effortless. She tells him how great he is as a wedding singer, and Robbie, always humble, brushes off the compliment with a smile. Chapter 2. Heartbreak on Wedding Day. Robbie's big day arrives, but things take a devastating turn. As he stands at the altar, waiting for Linda to walk down the aisle, his heart pounds in his chest. The music plays, the guests are seated, but Linda never shows up. Robbie's world comes crashing down. Linda has left him. She's sent a note explaining that she doesn't want to marry him because he's just a wedding singer. She had dreams of something bigger, and being with Robbie no longer fits into her plans. Crushed and humiliated, Robbie retreats into his shell. His belief in love is shattered, and his once joyous spirit is replaced by bitterness. He cancels all his upcoming performances, unable to face the joy of weddings when his own has fallen apart. Julia, seeing Robbie's devastation, reaches out to him. She offers a kind ear, hoping to lift his spirits. Despite her own wedding plans, she genuinely cares about Robbie's well-being. She reminds him that he has a talent for making people happy and that he shouldn't give up on love or music. Chapter 3. A New Friendship. As Robbie slowly recovers from his heartbreak, he begins to spend more time with Julia. She asks him for advice on her own wedding, from picking out venues to choosing music for her reception. Although reluctant at first, Robbie eventually agrees to help. Working together, they develop a close friendship. Robbie starts to notice the cracks in Julia's relationship with Glenn. Glenn is self-centered, more interested in money and status than in Julia's happiness. He's dismissive of her dreams and doesn't seem to care about the little details of their wedding. Robbie, on the other hand, listens to Julia and supports her, even when she doesn't realize she needs it. During one particularly telling moment, Julia tries on her wedding dress. She twirls in front of the mirror, expecting Glenn to give her a heartfelt compliment, but he barely notices. It's Robbie who tells her how beautiful she looks, and Julia feels a spark of something she hasn't felt in a long-time genuine connection. Chapter 4. Love Takes a Detour. The more time Robbie and Julia spend together, the more obvious it becomes that they're developing feelings for each other. Robbie starts to realize that Julia deserves better than Glenn. Julia, meanwhile, finds herself drawn to Robbie's kindness, his passion for music, and his belief in love. But things are complicated. Julia is engaged, and Robbie, still nursing his wounds from Linda's betrayal, isn't sure he's ready to open his heart again. He's torn between his growing feelings for Julia and his loyalty to her as a friend. At a pivotal moment, Robbie decides to sing again at a wedding. With Julia's encouragement, he steps back onto the stage. As he sings, something shifts inside him. He remembers why he loves music, why he loves weddings, and why love, despite everything, is worth believing in. Chapter 5. The Truth About Glenn. Robbie's feelings for Julia become harder to ignore, especially as Glenn's true nature is revealed. Glenn is unfaithful and dismissive, treating Julia like an accessory rather than a partner. Robbie, unable to stand by and watch Julia marry a man who doesn't deserve her, struggles with whether to tell her the truth. One evening, Robbie sees Glenn out at a club with another woman. Robbie confronts Glenn, demanding that he tell Julia the truth, but Glenn laughs it off. Robbie realizes that if he doesn't say something, Julia will be trapped in a loveless marriage. With his emotions swirling, Robbie decides to tell Julia how he feels, but before he can, Julia announces that Glenn has surprised her with plane tickets for a destination wedding in Las Vegas. She's leaving, and Robbie is running out of time. Chapter 6. A Race to the Airport. Determined not to let Julia marry the wrong man, Robbie rushes to the airport. In a romantic grand gesture, he boards the same flight as Julia and Glenn. Using the airplane's intercom, he sings a heartfelt song, pouring his feelings into the lyrics. Julia, stunned by the public display of emotion, realizes that Robbie is the one who truly loves her. Glenn's behavior on the plane cements her decision. Julia sees Glenn for who he really is: selfish and uncaring. She calls off the wedding, breaking free from the relationship that has been holding her back. As the plane touches down, Robbie and Julia share a kiss, finally acknowledging the love that has been growing between them all along. Chapter 7. A Wedding of Their Own. The story comes full circle when Robbie and Julia get married. This time, Robbie isn't just the wedding singer, he's the groom. Surrounded by friends and family, they celebrate their love in a way that feels true to who they are: simple, heartfelt, and full of music. Robbie's faith and love is restored, and Julia finally gets the kind of love she always deserved. Together, they create a new chapter in their lives, one built on trust, friendship, and the belief that love can always surprise you when you least expect it.